The San Francisco 49ers and Joey Bosa just might break the NFL. Ever since he's been released from the Chargers, they've been having good conversations to reunite Joey Bosa with Nick Bosa. And today we got some breaking news that they're closer than a deal than ever. According to Tim Kawakami, he had the following to say. Meanwhile, I've heard Joey Bosa and the 49ers are having good conversations, and this feels like it's headed towards a deal. Nothing is done, but the Bosa brothers want to be together and probably will get there this year, which likely means this will be a moderate deal plus incentives. Bosa, 29, is still in the prime of his career, and coming in at 6'5", weighing 280 pounds, he's a prototypical defensive end. But the biggest question in his NFL career has been his injury history. He's almost been injured every single year for the last couple of years and just hasn't been able to finish a season. But when healthy, he's one of the most dominant defensive ends across the entire league. Back in 2021, for instance, when he played in a full 16 games, he registered 51 tackles, 10.5 sacks, and 7 forced fumbles. But now let's talk about the important part for San Francisco and Joey Bosa, the contract he's most likely going to get. According to Tim Kawakami, as we heard earlier, it's probably just going to be a moderate contract with incentives. For me, this probably means $10 million or under per year. When you look at Leonard Floyd's contract San Francisco gave him last year, for instance, it was a 2-year contract worth $20 million, so $10 million annually. And when San Francisco signed him, he was much more productive than Joey Bosa. In 2023, he had 10.5 sacks, the year before 9, and the year before that, 9.5. Meanwhile, Bosa for the last couple of years hasn't surpassed 10 sacks. In 2024, 5, the year before that, 6.5, the year before that, 2.5. So I really doubt Yoko, if they are able to land Joey Bosa, they're going to cut Leonard Floyd, which saves them $7.95 million in cap space. That essentially could just be rolled over to Bosa, so it wouldn't cost his team that much. If really anything, they could actually feasibly save money if they are able to land a team-friendly deal. And I think it's pretty possible. For one, both of the Bosa brothers and Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa have let their desires be known that eventually they want to play on the same NFL team. And with Joey Bosa being a free agent and 29, this may be their last opportunity. But it's not just the Bosa brothers, but their mom Cheryl has also went to social media and said, let's make this happen to San Francisco. The last time they were actually on the same team was back in St. Thomas Aquinas High School, where Nick Bosa was a freshman and Joey Bosa was a senior. So what can we really expect with Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa most likely reuniting paths this offseason? Well, first, they already worked together every single off his fellow defensive ends, his defensive linemen, what the offensive linemen are doing, and how to beat it. In a similar way with San Francisco, I think he can impart his knowledge on some of these younger guys, like let's say Evan Anderson, and then on the outside, someone like Sam Okuanu. San Francisco also has the ability to keep Bosa relatively healthy throughout the season. They have plenty of depth at this position they can rotate in on early downs, like I was mentioning a player like Samuel Okuanu, but they are also expected to keep Yetur Gross-Matos, who's really been solid against the run for the last couple of years. So on first and second down, I don't really expect to see much of Joey Bosa. They're going to want to use his limited reps he has to get after the quarterback. But if he's able to remain healthy and rested throughout the season, we've seen in previous years him just absolutely demolish games and really be one of the better players across the entire NFL. And I think this scheme fit makes Bradley, who's one of the better defensive coordinators across the entire league, just generating pressure with a 4-man front, which is essentially what the Eagles did against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So if you're able to mix both of these philosophies, one of the 4-man front, one of blitzing a lot and using exotic coverages, you're going to have one of the most deadly defensive lines across the league. Offenses are just going to be struggling to understand what your defense is doing every single time, trying to adjust, and if they just have 1 or 2 bad plays on the drive, it's over for them. They're going to have to punt, and San Francisco's offense gets the ball back. And even though Joey Bosa has had his injury histories, there's reasons to be excited for San Francisco. First, he's 2 years removed from a surgery that he had on his groin to repair a tear, and last year, he only suffered a sprain to his foot. So I think if San Francisco is able to mix in that rotation I was speaking about, we could see Bosa playing in 17 games this upcoming season and helping San Francisco in the postseason. What I'm probably most excited about if San Francisco can actually land Joey Bosa is the marriage between Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, and Chris Kasarik. Chris Kasarik, in my opinion, is one of the better defensive line coaches across the league. He does a good job of coaching up players, and often unknown players have their best years of their career with him. When you look at Kerry Hyder, for instance, his best years with Chris Kasarik. Same thing for a player like Charles Omenihu. He just understands where to place them on the field, how to utilize them, and how to coach up their technique. In a similar way with Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa, I think he'll be able to do a similar thing. Not just coaching up their technique together, but maybe he can use creative things, like stack them up on one side of the defensive line, overpower that side, put them both on the middle. Really, anything can happen. But to really see the player San Francisco is on track to getting in Joey Bosa and how they may use them, I think we need to look at his most recent year's film, starting out with him against the pass. You can see Bosa doing just that, getting the sack on Gardner Minshew. So headed into this year, I would expect the Bosa brothers to maybe be stunt brothers. You could technically line Nick Bosa or Joey Bosa up at defensive tackle, stunt them, and thanks to their athleticism, this would be too much for guards and tackles to handle. The other thing I love about Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa on the field at the same time is you're going to have to account for them. You have to put two people on them most of the time, and it can't be a tight end and a running back like on this play, or, well, you see the result. In a similar way on this play, the Chiefs account for Bosa with not just their tackle, but also has their running back chipping him, but still, he gets a sack on Patrick Mahomes. And when you just have one person on him, he's going to work on that one person until he finally beats him, like here where he's able to get around 72 and get the sack on Bryce Young. As far as specific pass rush moves I like out of Joey Bosa, I would have to say my favorite is his double hand swipe. On this play, for instance, he does a great job of timing it up to this tackle's punch, which results in him almost lunging at Joey Bosa and him getting the sack on the quarterback. As far as Joey goes against the run, I love his hustle he shows off. He's able to track down ball carriers on the backside of the play. Another important factor for a defensive lineman is his ability to set an edge, and on this play, Bosa does a great job against the Ravens, first setting the edge, and then once he realizes Derrick Henry is cutting it back inside, he fights off this block and gets the tackle. Ultimately though, I don't think San Francisco will be relying on Joey Bosa to stop runs, but if he's in there, I think he's more than adequate. Honestly, he might be one of the better run-stuffing defensive ends San Francisco has, but it's a trade-off. They're not going to want to use him all the time in this capacity, and I think we'll probably just be focusing on how to get him to the quarterback. Ultimately though, I think San Francisco signing Joey Bosa is probably going to be a good thing for this team. If he's able to remain healthy, I think Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa pair perfectly together, and they could really wreak havoc on the league. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts on San Francisco seemingly in line to sign Joey Bosa, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Do you think this will be good for the team or bad? It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.